This video will introduce the concept of les faux amis, or as it is known in English, the false friends. It will also help you understand what the term means, help you familiarize with key examples, and help you learn why it is important for students who are learning French as a second language. Les faux amis is a term used to describe a French word that is pronounced very similarly to a word in English, but that has a different meaning. These words would be false friends, as even though they look and sound similar, they do not signify the same meaning. A good example of this is the word balance, or as it is pronounced in French, balance. Although they are spelled the exact same way, and although they even sound similar, its definition in English is very different from its French definition. In English, the word balance means equilibrium. For example, the man kept his balance to keep from falling. In French, the word balance means scale, so it would therefore be une balance. For example, le scientiste a utilisé une balance pour peser ses substances. So, as you can see, balance qualifies as an example of les faux amis. The English word balance translated in French is actually l'équilibre. Let's go through a few more detailed examples.
Kyle and Jenna have been dating for a year. Jenna is originally from France and speaks French fluently, but she is still quite unfamiliar with English, whereas Kyle is an English speaker, and although he has made an effort to improve, he still can't speak French very well. They have been entertaining the idea of marriage for a little while, and Kyle has heard Jenna say on occasions that she wants une bague in the near future. Unfamiliar with French customs, Kyle assumes that she wants a bag, and seeing as she always brought it up during their conversations about marriage, he decides to propose with one. This does not end well for Kyle.
What Kyle did not know is that the French word bague does not mean the same thing as the English word bag, regardless of the fact that they sound almost the same. The French word bague means ring, therefore it would be une bague. For example, Jenna a demandé pour une bague de fiançailles.
Had Kyle known that she had been asking for an engagement ring, he would have known to propose to her using one, and things would have went over much more smoothly with their engagement.
The French translation for the English word bag is un sac. For example, l'homme a utilisé un sac pour transporter ses bagues. Here is another example of les faux amis.
Katie just moved to Quebec and is new to the area. She is very unfamiliar with parking meters. She asked someone that she had met how they work, and the woman, who struggles to speak English, told her that the parking meters take la monnaie. Assuming she meant to say the word money, Katie parked in front of a parking meter and attempted to put cash she had on into the parking meter. As the meter only took change, this did not work as expected.
The lady that Katie had asked about the parking meters, however, was not trying to lead her astray. The French word monnaie and the English word money do not mean the same thing. The French word monnaie means change in English, as in nickels, dimes, and quarters. For example, pour faire fonctionner la parcomètre, il faut insérer la monnaie. The lady was simply trying to tell Katie that the parking meter takes change, not cash.
Had Katie known that the lady was trying to tell her that the parking meter took change, she would have came prepared and would have been able to work the parking meter without any problems.
The French word for money is l'argent. For example, il avait beaucoup d'argent, mais la plupart de son argent était sous forme de la monnaie. Here is a final example of les faux amis.
Jasmine recently moved from France to a university in Canada through an exchange program and knows a limited amount of English. As she does not have access to a printer in her residence, she asked a fellow student on campus where she would be able to find one. using what limited English she had. The student, understanding the question, told her that there were printers at the library. Jasmine, believing the English word library to mean the same thing as the French word librairie, went to the bookstore and searched for a printer, but evidently she did not find what she was looking for. Had Jasmine been able to understand her fellow student correctly, she would have known to go to the library to find printers, and she would have no problems printing her assignment.
The English word library and the French word librairie do not signify the same meaning. Libraries are used as atheneums or studies, whereas une librairie is the same as a bookstore. For example, les étudiants fréquentent la librairie pour acheter des livres.
Similarly, if an English-speaking student who knows little to no French were to be told by a French-speaking student that there were sweaters being sold at la librairie, they would most likely assume that the person meant to say the English word library, and would then check to see if there were really sweaters being sold there. This could lead to some misunderstandings, unless of course that person understood that what the French-speaking student was trying to say, that there were sweaters being sold at the bookstore.
The word library, when translated in French, is actually une bibliothèque. For example, il fréquente la bibliothèque chaque semaine pour louer des livres. Why is learning les faux amis important? As an English speaker, one of the most challenging things about learning French as a second language is learning not to let your knowledge of the English language influence the way you speak French. Both languages are similar in a lot of ways, but for the most part, they are fundamentally different. Les faux amis exist because English speakers believe that due to the similarities between the languages, similar words must mean the same thing, which as we've seen is simply not the case. For children who are learning French, it is important that they recognize French as its own language, one that has its own unique functions as well as its own unique vocabulary, so that they are not tempted to let their knowledge of English hinder their ability to learn French. There is a very large number of false friends, and studying all of them and becoming familiar with all of them is very important and helpful to those who are learning the French language. Thank you for watching our video, and remember not to let les faux amis fool you.